look so cute in sleep mode.
Do not judge me.
It wasn't judgment, it was a depreciation.
Sleep mode is where I work out my bugs and glitches.
You have bugs and glitches?
Who do you think programmed me?
Ladies, gentlemen, and trainers of all ages, patch 1.1 has finally arrived for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and with it we have a whole host of changes. Or do we? What actually happened with this patch? What did it fix? What did it change? Has it even made the game function better than it did before? Well, to start off, let's look at the patch notes themselves. What did Nintendo say changed within this update? Season 1 of Ranked Battles begins. Yep, that's true, that happened. An issue fix that caused music to not play correctly during Elite Four and Top Champion battles. Okay, well, I mean, that's nice to change if it was an issue, but in the grand scheme of things, that is just such a tiny fix compared to the real problems. But I guess anything is better than nothing, right? Then finally, just a little dot here that says other select bug fixes have been made. What does this mean? Well, there are tons of notable bugs and glitches within the game. Some are funny, some actually advantageous to the player, and some just downright bad to have around. So let's start off with what is probably everyone's biggest question. Have the performance issues been fixed? Well, no. There is a big blurb in the patch notes that says Game Freak is aware the players, quote-unquote, may encounter issues that affect the game's performance. First off, this is a hilarious way to word this statement. I have talked to literally only one person that says the game runs fine for them. Just one person. And this makes it sound like the game's performance issues are a rare occurrence that happens for some players. But that aside, they didn't actually patch anything related to this. They just made note that it exists and that they are aware. Upon the patch hitting, a lot of people said things like, oh, it runs better now, but within mere hours of that, a lot of those people changed their minds, and the reason for that is simple. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have a significant memory leak issue, which means the longer your game is open, the worse it will run, and for many people, when you stop playing, you just put your Switch to sleep, right? Well, that doesn't fully restart the game, and so your performance issues will have just gotten worse and worse since the release of the game until the patch hit, which forced you to close the game completely in order to let the update happen. Then, upon launch, it would run much better for just a little bit of time before once again descending into madness. You still get frame drops like crazy sometimes, background characters and cutscenes and battles still move at 5 FPS super randomly, it's still a problem. So again, put simply, there have been no actual performance changes within this patch.
Well, that sucks.
That said, there was the whole select bug fixes have been made bit within the patch notes, right? So what does that actually mean? Well, the main thing that we know has changed is that they stopped the legendary cloning method that had been going around recently. This was a really big deal, a really notable proper exploit caused by an issue in the game's coding. Put simply, before the patch, you could copy your mount legendary by putting it into battle mode, catching a new Pokemon, and then in the aftermath of the catch, when it asks you if you want to put the Pokemon in your party, say yes, and then try to replace your legendary, which would put it in the box. Obviously, you aren't allowed to do that, and if you try to do it normally, it will not work. It will just tell you you can't do that. But players realize that if you hit A and then B really quickly afterwards, you could actually force the game to go through with it, and the result would be when you press plus again, your legendary would re-enter mount mode, so you'd still have the legendary in travel mode in your party, but you would also get a second copy of the legendary that would be put in your box. This has been fixed, so you can no longer duplicate your mount legendary. The thing is, the main reason that people even did that was because it led to an item duplication glitch. And what is probably the most interesting thing here is that they didn't fix the item dupe glitch. They stopped people from being able to duplicate the legendary, which is an issue, but if you've already duplicated the legendary, then the item dupe glitch still works just the same. They fixed a problem, but not the problem. This happened when you put your second rideable legendary back into your party, you gave it an item to hold, then told it to enter ride mode, because you already have a legendary in ride mode. This would then copy the item to the travel mode legendary while also saving the copy on the party legendary. Put simply, this was an infinite spammable exploit to duplicate valuable items that were never meant to be duplicated. And, well, they were clearly aware of this happening because they fixed half of it. But what really boggles the mind here, at least for me, is that all they did was stop people who hadn't done it already from starting to do it. Because again, if you already have the duped legendary in your box, you can still duplicate items without any sort of penalty even after the patch. The only thing that the patch did was stop you from duplicating the legendary in the first place. And so what they've done is essentially say, hey, so we fucked up, but instead of making it so no one can do this thing that we don't want people to do, we're just going to make it so new people don't catch on to it and start doing it too. Everyone who's already in on it, yeah, I guess you can just keep going. Why not? which is hilarious to me. I have no idea what is so broken within this that they were actually fully aware that this glitch was a thing, clearly, and were able to fix half of it, but left the arguably more important half of it just completely and entirely alone. So item duping has been patched, but also it has not been patched. Past this, pretty much every other glitch or bug that I'm aware of is still in place. Of course, anything that relies simply on turning autosave off and messing with your save state still works perfectly fine. That probably won't ever get patched out. It's not really a bug so much as it is just part of saving the game at a base level, and the only way to fix that would be to force autosave to stay on, which I don't think they will ever do. By this though, I mean things like shiny duplication and never-ending Tera Raids. If you didn't know, the shiny duplication method in multiplayer was to simply come across a shiny, save your game with autosave off, get your friend to catch the shiny while standing near you, then the host restarts their game and they are still standing in front of said shiny that their friend also caught, so they can catch a second one. This also happened in single player though through a weirder method, where you would find a shiny, catch it, then walk back to town without fast traveling, save the game as soon as you entered, and then walk back to where you saw the shiny before, and it will respawn in the exact same place, while you of course already have captured that shiny. On top of this, you could use a similar method for Tera Raid rewards. The rewards from Tera Raids are all RNG. You have a chance at some really rare items that are really important, but they aren't consistent at all. However, as it turns out, the rewards are predetermined from the moment they spawn on your map, rather than rolling after you finish the raid. What this means though is if you have some friends that you want to give a bunch of cool things to, just save before you start any raid, then find a 6-star raid that rewards something like an ability patch or a golden bottle cap, which are incredibly good and rare items. Then restart your game, invite your friends to do the raid, they will complete it and get those rare rewards. The host restarts the game again, they load their save again, they start the same Tera Raid again, inviting the same friends, they get the rare rewards again, so on and so forth until you're sick of being a good person to your friends. Bugs like this one don't necessarily break the game per se, but they are definitely not intended. They don't want you to be able to farm infinite rare items through a single raid on repeat through a silly little trick. It's just a mistake that they made while making the game because nobody stopped to think better of it. What else is there then? What else did or didn't they fix? Well, one well-known glitch is the backwards jumping climbing method. Before you unlock free climbing by defeating the Dragon Titan, there are tons of areas you just can't really get to because the walls are just too steep of an incline to sprint up, or they are too high to jump up. But there is of course a way around this, because the game is just a little bit broken if you hadn't noticed, and this is to jump backwards. Face away from the steep incline that you want to get up, jump, and then move towards the wall while in the air backwards. When you land, you'll start slowly sliding down, but you can of course just jump again. Continue this chain until you reach the top. This doesn't quite work on literal sheer cliff drops, but anything lesser than that, you can climb it very easily and repeatedly by doing this, and well, that still works perfectly fine after the patch. Another thing that still works after the patch is duplicating little shiny items on the ground using the picnic basket. You do this by saving your game before picking up a shiny item. Oh hey, now it's a star piece. Those are really valuable, right? It'd be great if you could have multiple. Well, relaunch your game to the save that you already had, then start a picnic. Angle the picnic specifically so that the basket is right on top of where the shiny is on the ground. Make sure you have 2 Pokemon from the same egg group in your party, and just wait. Instead of making eggs like you would normally expect, instead in the picnic basket you will find duplications of the item that is on the floor, one every couple of minutes. Once you end the picnic, you'll find that the item is still on the ground, so you can even still pick that one up, because why not? So then, why make this video, right? Why am I talking about the fixes and changes in the patch if seemingly there were like 2, and none of them really do a whole lot? Well, really, it's just to talk about them, to bring awareness to the fact that this game is just sort of unbelievably broken in fundamental ways, and to sort of shout at Game Freak just, hey, this is wrong. Why aren't you fixing it? Like, the game is broken, don't get me wrong, it's the most fun that I've had with a Pokemon game for years, but simultaneously, it is a poorly constructed video game compared to the standard we need to hold companies to. It is broken, it was not ready for release when it came out. It is incredibly enjoyable still, obviously, we all agree on that, and yet it is incredibly flawed, and now they release this patch, they say that they fix things, and yet most of the biggest actual glitches, bugs, exploits, whatever you want to call them, they're still here. They still haven't been touched. Hell, I almost feel like the way that they fixed the item duplication was a bit of a slap in the face. As I said before, all they did was stop people from duplicating new legendaries, and what that means is they stopped new players from starting to dupe items, but they haven't done a single thing to stop the people who were already doing it, which is just hilarious. I'm not mad, I'm just sort of disappointed, I guess. This is a company that, by the way, made made over $1 billion in 2020. They make one of, if not just the most popular game franchises of all time, and their latest entry in this franchise is just wrought with issues of every kind. They release a patch claiming it will fix things, and it fixes barely anything. I really hope that that will change in the future. I hope that they fix all the performance issues at the very least, because I want to think of this game as a masterpiece. I want to call it a 10 out of 10, because as far as the main game itself goes, it's just absolutely beautiful in so many ways, but it also just has so many issues caused by being rushed out too quickly. So hopefully with another patch, another 2 patches, another 10 patches, we can finally be at a point where the game can be called somewhat perfect. I don't know, maybe that's just me. What do you all think? How bad is it that all this stuff persists even after the patch? What do you hope for them to do with future patches? What do you want them to fix? Let me know in the comments down below. For now, like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.